So as we welcome our latest panelists to join us, we have launched another poll just to get a sense of what type of academic and support skills that you would like to hone in university. As the panelists introduce themselves, please take a moment to complete that poll so we can be sure to speak to what you're looking for today and what types of skills you'd really like us to reference and how we can help you with that. And with that, I'm going to invite our academic support panel to introduce themselves. And we'll start with Michelle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Chisholm, and I am a student accessibility advisor for the Accessibility Office here at St. Thomas University. And what we do is we work with students that have temporary or permanent disabilities. And some of the services that we offer are accommodation planning, advocacy, grant funding, and much more.
Hey folks, my name is Kath and I am the student success coach here at St. Thomas. What I help students with are things like time management. Super boring topic, I know, but incredibly important when it comes to our success at university. I also help students with things like studying, how to take good notes during your lectures, how to get more out of your readings, and also creating a personal financial budget.
Sorry, Heather, you're muted. Most popular phrase of 2020.
Right? I used to have a sign to hold up that said "You are muted" that I would use with my students, and here I am making the same mistake. What a great morning. I'm so happy to be here. And my name is Heather McDonald, and I am the Writing Center coordinator, and I also coordinate the peer tutoring program. So peer tutoring offers free peer-to-peer academic support for students who need it. So we match you with an upper year A-level student, and they are going to help you study or research or stay on top of your class readings and just generally stay motivated and on top of things. And at the Writing Center, our tutors offer free one-on-one tutoring support to you at all stages of the writing process. So right from that beginning assignment guidelines, all the way up until that final draft, we've got you covered for academic support every step of the way.
Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. My name is Brock Richardson, and I'm the Director of Student Services and Residence Life at STU. So a big part of my job is just supporting all of the really great student services staff folks that we have here. So some of them we're talking to now, and there's a whole other crew that's here to support you through any kind of issue. And the other more general part of my job is just to ensure that the out of classroom experience at STU, which is a really big part of university, is the best it can be for you, that it's fun, that it's engaging, that you're getting a lot out of it and doing whatever you need to do to prepare for your future. So I'm here to do that and here to work with students with great ideas that they might have in order to bring new things to STU as well.
And hi, everybody. My name is Clara Santa Cruz, and I work at the Office of Experiential and Community-Based Learning. And our office essentially helps you as a student to apply the theory that you learn from your classes out into the community and to discover the career paths that you want to get into through volunteering, professional and leadership development, and of course, our famous internships program.
Thank you very much. That's a great introduction, everybody. We're going to close the poll that we have open now. While we do that, I just want to say how impressive it is as well that 3 of our panelists that have joined us here this morning are also STU alum. And Claire, for you to know, we have a good number actually who have signed in from Ecuador this morning, your home country. Just for you to know as well, for the whole panel to know, we do have students who actually have signed in from across Canada and around the world. When we polled earlier, we had representations from literally every corner of the world that we asked about. So it was great. So as you can see from the poll results, we have a broad range of interest. So we'll have lots to speak about over the next little while that we'll make sure that we get to. And the second question I find very interesting. We have a really good mix here of those who are super excited and cannot wait to transition to post-secondary education, another who are excited but a little apprehensive, and then some who are uncertain and anxious. And actually, Kath, I'll use this to dive into some questions, because as the Student Success Coordinator and the person who this summer put together our online orientation program, I know this was something that you heard a lot from students, and the fact that no matter kind of what they answered that question, they're in good company.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think it's important for every new student and even current students, like while you're going throughout your degree at STU, to be aware that you are never alone. I think as human beings, we have this bad habit of thinking we are the only ones who are struggling with something. We are the only ones who are nervous to start university. We are the only ones who haven't chosen a major. We're the only ones who don't know what we want to do with our lives. We are the only ones who don't understand something a prof is saying. This is 100% not true, but I think it's important to be mindful of this and have this conversation with ourselves repeatedly, because you could be starting to like, okay, I'm understanding this part of university, but like I'm still the only one struggling with this. 100% not the case.
I'm going to come back, Kath, in a few minutes to get you to speak a little bit about that transition as well, and how we support students, and this year how we were very innovative on that. But we had a question that came up in our previous panel of students and faculty that we didn't have a chance to ask, but actually is probably more relevant for this group. Questions specifically around the support and resources for LGBTQIA students. And so Brock, maybe I'll ask you to start on that and speak to the support system that we have in place. And then if any of our other panelists have something to add, please do so.
Yeah, so STU, I think, on that topic, like STU is known, I think, as a pretty open community, a very welcoming community, a nice small community. And we have a really a large number, but also like a really strong group of queer and trans students on campus who are very involved and engaged. And what we've been able to do over the last couple of years is create and hire a new position that we share with the other schools on the Hill to provide support for everybody in the LGBTQ2S+ community. And so that looks like supporting the student groups in what they want to do, doing advocacy and supporting so that STU has better policies. Because frankly, like any institution that's been around a while, you need to look at these things with a new lens and see how can we do better. And everything from like washrooms to preferred names to all sorts of other things. And so we've brought in that expertise to help us with that. And that position also helps specifically with counseling and with navigating systems, because some of those systems can be complicated, right? Whether it's talking to a student about the various aspects of coming out to their family, or navigating our health plan for how to pay for hormone therapy or something like that. There's just a lot to it, and we're really happy that we have that support here now at STU. So the position itself is called the LGBTQ2S+ Wellness Coordinator, and the person who is in that right now is Cassidy Wilson. And we could share the contact with that as well.
Great. Yeah, we can do that as part of the follow-up after the event. I'm going to switch over to Clara for a moment. Clara, if you can speak to some of the internship opportunities. Now, we've had this question that came in was specific for criminology and anthropology students, but just maybe even building off of that, just generally speaking as well about internship opportunities for our students.
Yes, for sure. So our students complete internships, and may I add, they are always either paid or for credits towards your degree or the major that you're completing. Our students complete internships in all fields imaginable, whether that is the business sector, nonprofit, governmental, public sector. We support positions anywhere that you like. And one thing that's even particularly unique about STU is that we offer the option for students to create their own internship position, which is really great for a student who has a very specific maybe office or department that they want to work with, and so they can create their own internship. We have had students work for publishing companies, for economic development agencies, social work associations, Canadian Mental Health Association. And for criminology, the most recent one we had was students completing internships at the Provincial Department of Public Safety and Crime Prevention. So there are lots of ways that students can apply their knowledge, no matter which major they are completing.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Heather, I'm looking at you because we're getting some questions here about the Writing Center. And I'll just kind of give you some context as well. I'm not sure if you heard the end of my discussion with Professor Clark, but talking about the different ways that a classroom is structured and the way that students can participate via discussion-based, writing-based. But obviously, no matter what kind of forum that students are participating in that particular class, they will have papers. Being at a liberal arts institution. And so the support that your office provides, I think, is an important one, and certainly one that people are looking for some more information on.
Sure, and we're so excited to provide the support to you because at the end of the day, all of the students that work for the Writing Center are passionate about writing, and they're good students, and they're students who like to help other students. And we are here for you in a really convenient format. You can book appointments online with us. We offer morning appointments, evening appointments, weekend appointments. So we're available and we're ready and we're passionate about helping. And Ryan, you're totally right. The majority of the way that we assess and evaluate at university is through your writing. So it's even more important that you're confident in that writing and that you are happy with what you're submitting and that you're showing your professor that you're thinking critically about those subjects. But it can also be a little stress inducing if you've never written at a university level before. So it's even more important that you reach out and use these services that are free and convenient and here for you to help you through those processes. So when you get your first assignment guidelines as a first year student and you're looking at this paper and you're thinking, I might not even know what any of these terms mean. How do I even decode this to get started? Well, the answer is you reach out to us and you book an appointment with a writing tutor, and we sit with you one-on-one and we talk you through those guidelines, and you become a scholar of the language. You understand what it means to write in a citation style or to have a research-based paper, and we can take you through every step of the way. It's comfortable, it's supportive, and it just really takes that stress away, replaces it with confidence, and then you become the best student that you can be.
I know over the years I've seen talk to students who have taken C's to B's and B's to A's by leveraging the support that they have in the Writing Center and kind of honing their writing skills, but also just working along the path of a paper and engaging with you early in the process rather than later. Just
so important.
Kind of building on those supports we have, Michelle, we have a couple of questions here about the accommodations that are available to students and how students can both get that support and what types of support we have in place through your office.
Absolutely. So to register with the Accessibility Office at St. Thomas, we ask that you contact us first, and the earlier the better. So if you are planning on coming in the fall, then getting a hold of us before you come is great, because there are certain supports that we offer that need time to get in place. So the earlier you get registered with us, the better. And it is voluntary. So if you have a temporary or permanent disability, it is your choice to register with us. That being said, it's a pretty simple process to become registered with our office. There are two pieces of information that we ask for. One is an intake form, which is your basic information. And the second is a proof of diagnosis. So it can be we have a medical form that we can share with you. It can be a letter from your doctor or a medical professional. And those are the two pieces of information that we ask for. Once we have those in place, we work with you and the documentation that you've provided us from your medical professional to create an accommodation plan. And that's where the majority of our supports come into play. some of the accommodations that we can offer to students are obviously dependent on what their medical professionals describe on their documentation, but also dependent on you as a person. So if you know how you learn and you know what best supports you, that's our number one piece of information to take into account. If you've had certain supports in high school or previous education that you thought were really helpful, please share that information with us because we use that to your benefit. So some examples of some accommodations, we do extended time for tests, alternate location for tests when we're on campus for classes. We also work with professors to negotiate extensions, to negotiate absences. And one of our major services that we offer through our office is note-taking services as well. So if you have difficulty taking notes in class, we can actually provide those for you through note-taking services.
Great, thank you very much. Kind of staying with that theme of accessing services early, Kath, I'm going to come back to you. One of the, I'd say, legacy events of this year in the situation we find ourselves with COVID is the program that you worked with the team to develop on online orientation, and how even when we're back to normal times, that will allow us to engage with students early and get them started along the transition to university. So if I could ask you just to speak about that program and how that benefits students even before they arrive on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what this online orientation is it's just better to prepare you for the transition coming into university. There's a lot of differences coming from high school into university. And if you are aware of those differences and better know what to expect in your courses or even what your new responsibilities are as an undergraduate student, that can just make that transition a bit more successful. So some of the things you will learn about is the importance of time management, is the importance of developing those writing skills, the importance of asking for help. That is one of your new responsibilities as an undergraduate student. Help is 100% available to you. Like, we have a bunch of great folks on this panel, but it is up to you to reach out. Talking about a growth versus fixed mindset, right? Your very first assignment you get back, it may not be a mark you are happy with. That is not saying what you are capable of. It is just saying, okay, hey, I have some areas I can improve upon. I'll reach out to my professor. I'll reach out to the writing center. We can grow from there. We also have a wonderful module about what to expect in your courses. So your profs will talk about a course outline, about what the word discussion means, what argument means, what reading at university means, tips and strategies for maintaining positive mental and physical health. University is challenging, but you are capable. And again, it's about that advocating for yourself. It's up to you to do the things that are going to keep you healthy. Also talking about STU culture and values. So things like diversity, the liberal arts, things like that, ways to volunteer and get involved on your campus, and some more. But I will leave that to you to figure out next August.
So once students go through that program and they're coming to campus, so we in the industry you hear about orientation or Frosh Week. Here at St. Thomas we call it Welcome Week. It's truly kind of a welcome to the campus, welcome to the city, welcome to the STU community. Brock, maybe I could ask if you could just speak to a little bit about what Welcome Week actually is at STU.
Yeah, so I think I'll just sort of continue on from what Kath was saying. So Kath talked a lot about that orientation that we developed, and that orientation is great, and Kath did a really good job with it. And that's a lot of information about how you can be successful at university, right? And the sort of flip side of that in Welcome Week is meeting people. Like, fundamentally, that's what Welcome Week is all about. There are tons of events. We do lots of things. We have speakers. There are chances to play games. There's all that kind of stuff. And if you're an extrovert, you're going to love every minute of it. If you're an introvert, you're going to choose some things and you're going to go to those things and hopefully meet a few people. Like, there's stuff for everybody. But ultimately, when you start university, one of the most important things you need is a new support network, right? You're entering a totally new phase of your life. You're going to be going through all sorts of different things. And the best way to get through that is to go through it with others who are experiencing the same things and can help you through it. So the whole deal with Welcome Week really is just meeting a few people. You get through that, you come away with a few friends, and then you're good for the year.
And I'll add that is an event that we work really closely as a university with the Students Union, and the students are very much leaders in development of the program, of the week, and the events that happen with it. So it's always exciting to see how the student leadership, the Student Union, kind of puts together a week that really is geared towards a lot of that social integration while still giving people the chance to get academically set for their classes. And speaking of classes, Michelle, we had a question about when do students actually register for first year classes?
So students who are coming into the fall, who are looking to register for their courses coming up, it usually happens mid-April, and we do have supports in place for that, including admissions counselors. They're there to help you with course registration, and of course, academic advisors as well. So if you need support for deciding on which classes to take and how to make them fit together, kind of like a puzzle, those are two great resources for you. And to kind of tie in the accessibility office with that question, we have a great program through the accessibility office called Ease Your Mind. So if anyone has a temporary or permanent disability and is really concerned about how they're going to transition between high school or between previous stage of life into university. It's a great workshop that my coworker Rick and I put together, and the concept of it is to ease that transition, so to ease your mind. And it's a day long full of goodies, activities to do. We really get to know you, and we get to educate you about the different services that are on campus, although this is a great opportunity as well to learn about those. And then of course we talk about the differences between high school and university and what resources are good for you as well.
Excellent, thanks very much. Heather, just speaking about the leadership role that students take on campus, and that makes me think about you and the team that you work with from student leaders who are hired on campus for on-campus jobs. And your office is a good example of the on-campus jobs, as we have a question about how to, well, I guess this would be Clara and Heather. So we get questions about like, how do I find on-campus jobs and what type of jobs are there? And so maybe Heather, I could ask you to kind of speak about it from your office experience and what you see around campus. And then Clara, you can follow up with any additional comments.
Thanks. This is an excellent opportunity to plug the Writing Center, because we are always looking for students to be peer tutors and to work as Writing Center tutors. I currently have 37 peer tutors, and I have 6 Writing Center tutors. And those are students who are just really passionate about their subject, and they make it to their 3rd or 4th year and they think, you know what, I want to help other students. And I think at the root of it, that need to help students is what drives them to seek out work at the Writing Center. And we usually put out job advertisements in March or April, and we do our hiring then, so that you have a job going into the next school year. And if you're someone who's passionate about writing and researching and reading and taking that knowledge and helping students become really good students like you are, then certainly come to the Writing Center and search me out, because I'm interested in getting to know you.
Yeah, and there are almost every office and professor truly loves hiring students and having a student assistant. There are so many job opportunities. I actually worked on campus for the 4 years that I was a student at STU. So there are tons of opportunities of getting involved. And we have a great team in the career development office that helps you discover like which job opportunities on campus are coming up, which are currently available. How can I prepare my resume and cover letter so that I can be a competitive applicant on campus? And yeah, even at our office, we love working with students and hiring students. So we always have at least a couple of students working for our office. And that's a similar case for many of the other offices on campus.
Great, thank you. Kath, we have a question about the kind of workshops or the student success type events that you do throughout the year. Like, how do people find out, how do students find out about those?
Yeah, for sure. Any event I will host, I'll always send to communications, and then communications will market that on all the social media, or it could go to your STU email. But if you wanted to learn more about making an individual appointment with me, you can actually find a bunch of information on the STU website. If you click current students in the top bar, and then on the left hand side of that, click student success coach, and there's a whole bunch of information for you there.
Great, thank you. Brock, we've got a couple of questions about residents. We've talked earlier in an earlier panel about the student's experience of living on campus and off campus, but maybe you could just speak a little bit more about the residence community, the support that is there, and why students would want to live in residence.
Yeah, I think that every student should live in residence for their first year, at least, even if you're from like within what people might call as like the Fredericton metropolitan region, you know, even if it's a bit of a drive, I think it's worth living in residence because as I mentioned earlier with Welcome Week, like residence is this intense living experience where you are going to meet and become very, very tight friends with a bunch of new people. And those people are from everywhere. It's a total mix, right? So STU has about 10% of our students are international students from outside of Canada, but in residence, that's about 30 or 35% of our resident students. So our residence is such a diverse, such an interesting space. And if you're moving away from home for the first time, like we joke about it sometimes, but residence, frankly, it's assisted living, okay? So there are people that plan events for you. You're on a meal plan. They like things are pretty set up and pretty easy. You don't have to buy a new bed or anything like that. So you just come in and we take care of a lot of things for you. And your whole goal is to like meet people, have fun, study together, get to know each other, and have a good year. So I think residence, and it's just so handy to be in residence. So I think it's a great option, and I recommend it to every single first year student, no matter where you're coming from.
Two quick follow-up questions on residence. What's the food like?
What's the food like? The food I would say is it's. I mean, I think it's good. I think that there is quite a variety. So whether it's you know, breakfast or lunch or supper, we have an all you care to eat meal plan style here. So that means basically you walk in and every day it's like a giant buffet and they're making, you know, fresh hot things for you and they're changing up the menu and there's some different stuff. So if you're getting tired of like eating the same thing every day, then you need to just turn to the left and have something from over there or try something else because there are a lot of options. And one thing that I found here, which is really great, is like STU is small. I don't know how many times that's been said today, but Chef Mike, who works with us, and he's the executive chef here. He's really nice, and he actually does food competitions every now and then, and like wins awards. He's very good at what he does, but he's also really creative. And we have students who come here with unique kind of allergy situations, or they're coming from you know, sort of a different cultural food norm, and they're looking for some food that they're not getting very much of, and they'd like a little bit more of that. We work with Chef Mike all the time to help students, you know, figure out how can we expand, how can we change, how can we move the offerings. So if somebody shows up at the beginning of the year and after a couple weeks you're saying, I'm not really finding what I need that is going to work for me food wise, we talk to Mike and we make it work.
Yeah, I'll add that Chef Mike, over the many years that he's worked at St. Thomas, has gotten to know students quite well, and we'll even reach out and ask them how things are going. And on the side, the number of culinary competitions, external culinary competitions that he's entered and won. So he's an award-winning chef and someone who I know that students have benefited from having on campus for many, many years. The second question is in relation to the cost of residence. And I hear this one often because people say, well, it's going to cost me more to live in residence. And I often talk to them about, well, start breaking it down though before you really think about that. So I know you've done some work on this lately, just talking about the cost comparisons to on campus and off campus with the opportunity cost of that in mind as well.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I said earlier, a little bit jokingly, but I called it assisted living, right? And because it is, and in residence in your first year, what we want for you is for you to be focusing on doing well academically and meeting people. That's the whole goal of first year, all right? And when you come into here, you do not have to worry when you show up in residence for your entire first week about waiting to figure out when Rogers is going to come to hook up your internet, because that's taken care of. It's part of the cost, or worrying about your water bill, or figuring out which of your roommates is going to split that. So that what we find sometimes is people are doing a really quick cost analysis of, I saw this rental off campus and it was for this much, but that didn't include any of your furnishings. It didn't include any of your utilities or anything like that. The other piece with the meal plan, it's a chunk of change up front. It is, and there's a bit of a sticker shock there maybe, but it covers you for the entire year. So nobody is going to get to, and I've seen this at other campuses with different style meal plans or students who are living off campus. You make a budget for the year and then you get to March and you're finding that you're eating like a pack of ramen every day, and that's a bit of a struggle. So the nice thing about our meal plan is you buy into it at however many meals a week and you're covered right through till the end of April. So there's a real cost certainty there, which is really nice for students. But all of those pieces, whether it's us taking care of all the bills and rolling that up into the package, or us, having a meal plan so that you don't have to go out and do your own groceries, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean up after yourself and like do the dishes, you don't have to do any of that stuff. It's so that you can spend more time meeting people and spending time on academics. And when it's your first year out of home, and there are lots of resources on campus for time management. Time management is a huge part of first year university. Living in residence, I think, can make time management a lot easier because we just take care of so many of those things for you.
I will add for any of the parents who are watching, and I know there are a few, that laundry fees are included in residence fees. So there are no reasons that students are showing up holidays and weekends with bags of dirty laundry, because they can do it in residence as part of their fees, much to the dismay of some of our resident students. Clara, can I come back to you specifically about experiential learning opportunities for first year students, and how you recommend kind of students get prepared for those opportunities throughout their time at STU?
Yes, of course. So pretty much there are several experiential learning opportunities available for students no matter what year they are in, and first years included. When you first arrive to campus, one of the first events that my office puts on is our famous STU Cares Day of Action. So students, in the majority of them are first years, go into large groups to volunteer out into the community of Fredericton. And so they get to see a lot of the different groups and organizations that make our community so lively. So you can participate in volunteering. Even one of my first year courses in sociology had me go and volunteer for a nonprofit organization that focused on food issues in the community. And so coming from Ecuador, like Ryan said, for me it was a really great experience to be able to see who are the people that live in this city that I'm in right now. And it was part of the credits that I was working towards in my degree. So I had a lot of experiential learning opportunities in my first year too. And even internships, you can still apply for an internship in your first year. That being said, we do recommend that you take a few courses first, discover what types of major you want to go into, or what type of workplace you might be interested in, and perhaps apply in your upper years. But in your first year, we really do a lot to help you prepare your, like I said, your resume, cover letter. We do mock interviews for you so that you can prepare for that, and a lot of on-campus jobs as well.
Great, thanks very much. Brock, quickly back to you. We have a follow-up question on res, and specifically about support animals.
Yes, so just a little bit. Support animals is part of our accommodation process here at STU. So if somebody does have a support animal as part of their as part of their care, then they submit an application to residents like normal, and then they can note that on the residence application that they have a support animal, and then they go through a very specific application and documentation piece with the student accessibility services with Michelle and Rick to make sure that that works. So, and that process is really all about ensuring that there's a really good and healthy space and environment for the animal, that we can ensure that that happens, and to ensure that the animal is going to be in a situation where it's not sort of infringing on the situation for other students, because we do have other students who have allergies or phobias and things like that. So we work to ensure that everybody it works out for everybody.
And just quickly, while we're on residents, a bit more information about what the options will be for students come September 2021.
Yeah, so for September 2021, there's going to be, I would say, a new look to an existing option, which is Vanier Hall. So Vanier Hall is our largest residence on campus, and it's empty this year, and not just because of COVID. It's actually empty this year because it's being totally gutted and renovated. So they are like taking everything out of it and totally redoing it. And we've had lots of meetings over the last two years actually, working with a lot of students to get input on how they want that residence to look, what things they want in it, what would they like, what would they not like. And so that residence is going to be completely redone and ready to go for next August. So we'll have it just in advance of September, hopefully. And so there's Vanier, which is right here. I'm pointing behind me because I'm on campus and it is just through that wall. And then there's Harrington, which is another very large residence right on campus. And it was renovated, I think just three or 4 years ago now. So very recently, and it's in really good shape. And then those are two sort of large residences. And then we have Holy Cross House, which is a smaller residence. And that starting next year is going to be our all-female residence. So that is an option if students are looking for that, to be in an all-female space, that we have Holy Cross as well.
Thank you. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we have 3 alum on the panel. I'm looking to you first, Michelle. Just even kind of speaking to your experiences. Now, you've been a student here, you've been a staff in a couple different roles. If you could just kind of speak to your experiences at STU.
I'm pretty cheesy. I usually say I live and breathe STU, so good start with me. I don't know. There's something about this place, and I hate to sound again cheesy or corny, but they're the type of students that come here, and the staff and the faculty that work here have very like-minded values, and I think it all revolves around support and understanding and a global mentality. And I think a lot of people here are quite open-minded and use that to their advantage to try to understand other people. And I've felt that as a student. I felt that as a staff member and as an alum, and it becomes kind of a piece of you, a piece of your identity. I know it is a educational experience, but it's also kind of a part of you too. And like Brock mentioned previously, and everyone else, this place is quite small, but the amount of alum and the community that we have now has grown so much since St. Thomas has opened, and you become a piece of that. And I think that that's what I appreciate the most, is that that sense of community and the global mentality that we have.
And Heather, earlier I referenced Ilke Silk. For those of you who are on the call, our longtime drama coordinator here at St. Thomas and matriarch of theater in this region, and if not the country. I know your involvement was quite significant in that realm as well. If you might be able to just speak to kind of the theater experience at STU.
I would love to. I feel like maybe I've set myself up a bit too much for this, because you can see kind of this wall of St. Thomas behind me. I came here twice for my undergraduate degree, where I honored in English language and literature, and I minored in anthropology. And I came back for my Bachelor of Education, and then all these plaques that you see here, I can't figure out how to make my finger go the right way. All of those plaques that you see there are the student union used to give those out for significant contributions to student life. So I did get to experience drama at STU, which was, it was just this incredibly immersive time where I made friends that I still have today. And I look at these students that I work with and that I tutor and that I coach, and I think to myself, you might not even have met your best friend for life yet. Like what you're doing right now, the things you're getting involved with, like you have no idea what amazing things are waiting for you around the corner, because it's such a formative time. And it's not even just theater, which I think by the nature of having a small cast and working together really, really closely on a project that's then broadcast to a community and it has such a meaning and value. It's not even just the nature of theater that brings people together. It's the nature of theater at St. Thomas, and it's the nature of whatever you choose, whatever activity you choose at St. Thomas, because those people that you get to know, you then have classes with, or you might share a bus route with, or they might become your roommates, or they're definitely, if not in your direct circle of friends, they're going to be in the circle of the friend that you just made from a different activity. So when you get involved, it not only adds this depth and this meaning to your undergraduate life, but the ripple effect is that it enhances your experience for the whole time and beyond. I just texted my friend this morning to say, I am looking out my office window at the front steps of George Martin Hall at the place I was sitting when I sat next to you on the first day of Welcome Week and we became best friends. And just those special kind of memories, you can't recreate that. This is the perfect community to do that. It's the perfect spot. And I can't wait for everyone who's watching at home today to experience that themselves.
It's a great story. And I know it made me think of during COVID, these COVID calls you have with people you may not have seen in a long time. And I reconnected with my roommate from my roommates my first year. And it was really nice that, I mean, we continue to stay in touch, but this was, the COVID calls gave it much more intention to reconnect. And it was very much a call of reminiscing. Clara, I mentioned earlier we have students from all around the world who have signed in for today. And I'd ask that if you could just speak to transitioning from being a student at St. Thomas to staying and living and working in Canada, and just some ideas or thoughts or comments around that.
Yeah, transitioning from South America to Fredericton was definitely a challenge, but it was fantastic. I loved as soon as I stepped out of the plane, I loved Fredericton and how green it is and the beautiful rivers that we have here. And I lived in residence, Harrington Hall, a proud Raider. And I met so many great people. Like Brock was saying, it's so multicultural that you get to meet people from all over the world. I made incredible friends there. And yeah, because I had so many on-campus jobs throughout my degree, I was able to have really good work experience within the university that I was able to secure a job here at STU, and I never want to leave. And it was a pretty seamless process. It's great how you can make a lot of connections with people and get advice and develop mentorship relationships with staff and faculty that can guide you and help you discover where you want to go and where you want to be at when you graduate from STU. And I could just not be prouder about being a STU alumna.
And that your comment around that seamless transition, I think, is an important one, because I know many international students who do choose to come here do opt to stay and live and work. And we do have support services available to our international students. Carrie Monteith-Lebec as an international student advisor, and then of course working closely with the province of New Brunswick and immigration to support students who, after 4 years of being here as a student, decide that this is where they want to make their home, similar to your experience. And I suspect many of your friends from your international friends have actually stayed, not just in Fredericton, but across Canada. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So we're going to kind of start to wrap up here. We've had a few other questions that have come in. I'll remind our participants that we have admissions counselors standing by answering some questions in the text chat. We also have the admissions team who are here to process applications. So if you do decide you'd like to apply today, which you can do for free, again, with the code that we would have been provided upon registering for this event, please feel free to apply, and we'll get back to your application quickly. With that, I'm going to ask kind of just to do one kind of quick tour de tab here of our participants and ask, what is the thing that you most enjoy about working with students? So I'll start with Michelle.
I think it's kind of related to my last answer, actually. The amount of compassion and care that the students here at St. Thomas have is incredible. And even when they're in a position in which they feel like they're overwhelmed or they have something that's bothering them, the way they approach it is so admirable. They really care about others and they're concerned about others. And it's kind of our job to help remind them that we are also here to support them as well. They don't always have to hold the world on their shoulders. But I love that about them, that they do care so much about other people and other things that are happening in the world.
Kat.
Yeah, I just love talking to students. You folks watching from home don't know this about me, but I think everyone in this panel knows how much I love to talk. And I have a very open door policy or open inbox policy. Like, even if a question is not related to my office, like, please send it my way if you feel comfortable with that, right? I'll send it where it needs to go. But I just love having conversations with students. And yes, we'll spend time and talk about the time management things, talk about the studying things, but I genuinely love hearing what you got up to through the week or how this dance class is going.
Heather, over to you.
I've been thinking a lot about this question, and I think when I was at St. Thomas that for 4 years, I had these people in my life that changed the trajectory of my life. These faculty, these staff, these students, all of the community members at St. Thomas made an impact on me and made me the person that I am today. And when I work with students, I look at them and I think, how is this happening in your life right now? And how lucky am I to be a part of that? And I know that this transformative nature, this 4 years of your life or however many years of your life that's going to change you, that we're all in this together, and I get to be a part of that journey for just a little bit. And I learn so much from students every day, and I can feed off of their passion and their excitement to learn, and it keeps me excited and it keeps me wanting to do better at my job. So I love that. I love that we are dependent on each other to make this a really great experience, and it's so invigorating to me. That's my favorite part.
Brock.
Yeah, I think for me, my favorite part is there are a lot of things. Like, I think I really love working at STU, and I think a lot of people really love working at STU. So it's kind of like you have to pick something. The thing I enjoy the most, I think, and it's sort of a bit of a bigger picture thing, is that students who come here, when you're here, this is where you kind of like become who you really are. So when students are finishing high school and that's where you are now, you're doing your thing. A lot about your life is kind of defined by like the high school you're going to and what you have to do there, or like the hometown that you're growing up in and like what the situation there is, or like what the deal is with your family. Those are kind of like those are your circumstances, and you're kind of set with those for now. But when you come to university, it's all about what do you want to do? What do you want to do next? And who do you want to become? And whether that's learning a ton about a particular subject or figuring it out over a few years, meeting new friends, when you get to, third and fourth year university, everything about who you are as a person and where you're going in this world isn't constricted or defined or judged by any of that stuff about where you're from or what you were doing or what your circumstances were before. It's about who you are and what you want to do and how you want to contribute. And watching that slowly evolve over a few years is like the coolest experience that I get to have working here. And it's so fun because it is small and we do get to know people. So I see students in the first week of first year and I remember them, and then I see them in second, third, and fourth. And the transformation is huge and it's awesome.
Clara, it's up to you now to wrap this up. You got some good answers ahead of you, so no pressure.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. And I think that my favorite part about working with students is seeing the great things that they accomplish even after they leave STU, and when they come back and tell me like, "Wow, I'm in this my dream position right now, and I know that the internship that I took at STU really helped me with this," and just telling me, seeing the excitement in their eyes it's priceless. It's really incredible to see how the environment at STU challenges students intellectually, professionally, and personally, that they grow into very confident, caring, critical thinkers.
Couldn't think of a better way to wrap this up. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out of this beautiful Saturday morning